Good morning, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters, and today is BLABFEST Friday. I am filming this video before Christmas so that I can enjoy time with my family and maybe some other fun festivities like walking on the beach. Anyway, it is the 27th of December. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas day with your families, and now you can get back to the sewing room. So I don't have a lot to talk about today, just a few little housekeeping things. I am facing the thread wall, so now you are looking at my sewing table is behind me and all the stuff I have surrounding myself. I mean, you can even see up on the window ledge. Well, I don't know if you can see that or not. I might make that smaller. But you can see where I have, that was the top part of a thread holder. And I needed it to be off of the thread holder so it would fit on the thread wall. And so I used that as a decoration above my window. And you can see my printer and all kinds of other things. Stained glass inspirations on my window. All kinds of things behind me. A different perspective, a different view for you. Lots of things to look at. I am getting ready to finish up the data collection on the weather quilt. And as much as I have enjoyed and I am enjoying making the blocks for the weather quilt, I will be glad to be done with the collection and those blocks. I don't know why I can't do something just simple. I have to make it complicated. But when it's all done, it will be absolutely fantastic if I follow through with my entire plan. And I'm planning on it. That doesn't mean it'll happen faster than a decade. But I do have another weather quilt in mind. This one I will make so much simpler. This idea came to me in the car because, you know, it's a 12-hour trip to and from the house in Michigan. Well, to the house in Michigan, to the cabin. And so I have lots of time to think. I always keep a tablet in this mess in the door. And here are my little scribbly thoughts on next year's 2025 weather quilt. It will be based on cloud formations and the differences in temperature from the low and the high for the day. So I need to turn this into a nice typed version and put it in my notebook and get it set up so it is ready to go on day one. And I think instead of writing, it's just going to be circle the cloud choice. And I need to think about how I'm going to, is it going to be a certain time of day, or do you keep paper and pencil handy in your purse, in your car, little scraps somewhere so you can write down the big idea when it comes to you, because you never know. Some people even keep paper and pencil on the nightstand by their bed. I remember watching a Seinfeld episode where he wrote down something that made no sense and thought it was so funny, and the whole episode was about him trying to figure out what he wrote. So I don't do that one because I'm afraid of what I might write down. It might be something really, really odd. I got the organizing bug, and we have craft things not just in my sewing room, but as you know, if you've been watching for a while, that Dan does cross stitch. So he keeps his supplies separate from mine. He has a tower of floss and he hasn't bought most of this floss. This was from people saying, I'm done doing cross stitch. Do you want this? Here you go. Have some totes. And he sorts it all out. And yard sales and thrift stores. And he's always looking for cross stitch things. So he has his supplies sorted out separately. He has a tote of cross-stitch fabric, and we sort of share this cupboard and the space below it. There's a dresser below it in the living room where he keeps some embroidery flosses that are specialty ones that he doesn't necessarily use, but I can use anything that I want out of that cover. Not that I can't use the regular DMC stuff. He doesn't really care. But I have so much access to other stuff that he doesn't want or care about. But it was looking kind of disastrous. And this is the after I took some stuff out of it picture. This wasn't even the stuff was falling out on me picture. So I did start organizing some of those specialty flosses into that stackable little container that's there on the right. And so it's looking better. But in the bottom, I found 2 embroidery books. And one of them is a big, thick, hunkin' book, and it doesn't have colored pictures. It's an older book. It's probably from the 60s. And it has good diagrams on how to do stitches, but it is very detailed in the stitches. It's a thick hunkin' book. And then I found this book, which is called, let me look at this, Elegant Stitches. It's by Judith Baker Montano, and it was published in, I have it written down, 1995, the first time. Now, I did look this book up, and it is available on tons of used bookstores for the lowest price I saw was $2.32. And most of the prices were $10 and under. It is also available as a download from C&T Publishing for, I think it was $16.95. So more as a download. So it is still out there and available, which is a good thing. That way I can talk about it and not feel bad that you can't get this book. It does have spiral binding inside the book, so it does lay flat. There were many things that I liked about this book. It has lots of stitches. Very fancy stitches, very elegant. And she does them in plain embroidery floss, and she also does ribbon embroidery, which looks fantastic. I looked online to see what other books she had written, and she has written several books about crazy quilts too. So, and I saw in her illustrations, and there's illustrations of her work, and it's absolutely beautiful. This goes like hand in hand with junk journaling. If you've ever watched junk journaling videos, those are cool too. But she has pictures and photographs and things in her quilts also. My favorite part of this book, not only are the examples and the stitch diagrams are good too, but toward the end of the book, or middle of the book, she has stitches you can combine to make great things. And they're very simple diagrams. I'll pop one up here really quick. This would be these pages alone with the combinations would be a selling point for me. And I love that in the back, she has like sketches that she did at the beach so that you can see it is not do this the way I do this, but this book is a book to inspire you to come up with your own pictures and designs and crazy quilt blocks. So I like books like that. As quilters, we have access to so many books that are, here's my pattern, do this. Here's my pattern, do this. And as you know, I think patterns, like recipes, are only suggestions. So I like this kind of book every once in a while. It's like, I made this stitch and you could make it into blah, blah, blah. So this book gives me lots of ideas. Last week, I talked about getting ready to travel and preparing a travel kit. And I showed you pictures of, my little box of threads and needles and that kind of stuff. Well, that embroidery book is going into that little travel kit because it's nice and flat and it will make a great embroidery box. I also cut apart the letters to work on the alphabet quilt for scarlet. I need to sew those together and put a border around them so they're easy to handle. And at the same time, I have a second alphabet panel. I am going to make a quilt for my niece Sadie because they're only a year apart in age, and I think both those little girls will love to have an alphabet quilt. Yesterday was Annie the doll's surgery, and I will put a link in the description box below if you want to see the video I made for my niece about Annie's surgery, so that because my sister will not be able to come pick up the doll for a while, and I wanted Sadie to know that I got the doll fixed. So I made her a little 6-minute video showing the surgery and everything down below. You have to click on the link. I'm not putting it as part of the public and the monetized part, but if you want to see the surgery for the doll, there's a link down below. My husband thinks I've lost my mind, but I had great fun making that silly little video. Anyway, since it was Christmas, we stopped by, and my poor friend Kelly, I find she likes butterflies, because during the Great Depression, butterflies were a symbol of hope, and so she loves butterflies. All summer long, we look for butterfly things at yard sales, and sometimes we find very nice pieces for her. Sometimes they're just absolute corny junk with butterflies on. But she is such a good sport, and she always says, "Oh, I love the things you find me." Okay. And she pulls that off. This year, I found her a candy dish that was shaped like a pumpkin. It was a macasa, and it was still in the box, and it had beautiful, it was a white ceramic thing, and it had beautiful butterflies all over it. And I found her stained glass butterflies on a stake in her garden. We did find some very, very nice butterfly things for her. So while we were dropping those things off, she handed me Christmas gifts. So let me share with you some of the Christmas gifts that she found for me. I love this little bag. Of course, I am always going to buy the fabric. I don't need permission from anyone or a bag. Just saying. And she also found this lovely little wall hanging. The middle one, "Don't ever tell me I have too much fabric." There you go. That in my mind should be in bigger type, bigger print. I don't mind the ironing clothes or those other things. I really don't. But the one about fabric should be in bigger print. And she also got me a great little mug it's perfect. Perfect little mug. And I don't have one like that. So I hope that you have enjoyed our little BLABFest today. Let me know what interesting quilty gifts you got for Christmas. Anything new and unusual? I hope so. And I hope that you got all the fat quarters your heart desired. Monday is Upskill Monday with fancy trim. See you then. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.